right. Well, since nobody's in here, why don't we get the introductions out of the way? Because nobody cares. Immediately to my right, we got Clayton, Packers Total Access. Thank you for putting the proper name in there so I didn't have to go into my memory bank and figure out who you were. Clayton's here. JJ's here. He didn't put his podcast name in there, so I can't remember what he does. Bruce, Packers Without Borders. He knows the system. He knows how to do this. And then we got Matthew, Packers Without Borders. Everybody's here today. And now we got 3 viewers, so we can actually get started. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you guys, though, for joining me. This should be fun.
This has been a long time coming, hasn't it? This has been a long off season, and we are just a week and a chunk away from real football that counts instead of making stuff up all preseason long.
It's fun making stuff up, but I'm kind of getting bored, and I think everyone else is getting bored, and it's kind of resorted to just fighting over nonsense. And after about 45 minutes of arguing with someone, I'm like, what the heck are we doing? This is so stupid. How do I get out of this? Because this is such a waste of my time. But I don't want to lose either, so I got to stay invested in the argument.
Exactly.
All right. Let's start with the really hard thing here. We should probably start with quarterback, because I know there's going to be some crazy controversial takes here with quarterback. With the 3 guys, I actually, believe it or not, and maybe I shouldn't laugh at this because maybe one of you guys had this, but I did see somebody had Etling on the 53 as a tight end. So I don't know. Has anybody got
Bruce.
That? Was it Bruce? Okay, there you go. So let's do quarterbacks. Rodgers, Love, Etling on the 53. Does anybody here disagree with that?
Do you mean Etling
on the 53?
On the practice squad.
How about Etling on the moon?
Yeah, on the practice squad. Practice squad.
I've got a question for you on the quarterbacks. Why is there this infatuation with third quarterbacks for the Packers all the time with fans?
This didn't take long.
JJ, you should take that. That seems to be your thing right now.
Yeah, I kind of hate QB3s, and it's the fans' fault. It's the fans' fault. Look, Ryan has said numerous times on the podcast, he's got the answer perfectly. The third string quarterback goes in against the 4th, 5th, 6th string defenses, so he's absolutely shredding. And also, a lot of the time, they're just opening up and letting it rip downfield or scrambling and run all over the place. And what Etling's not doing at all, or any of these guys, is reading the defense, having to make decisions. I think Etling's time to throw is like 0.8 seconds or something. Like that's just what they all do. So you combine that with the fact that they can throw a gorgeous moon ball in practice, and the beat writers start getting excited about it and talking about what a gorgeous pass it was. So everybody gets excited.
I think we should actually consider investing in the worst quarterback we could possibly find and make him our third string, just so there's no more of this. No more. We don't have to worry about it.
Fields just signed a deal, so
I know we got to find somebody else. We'll see what Zach Wilson's doing in about a year or so. Maybe we can sign him.
He might be doing my mom, apparently, to the rumors.
Oh, here we go.
You see that one coming a mile away.
There we go. First one getting kicked out of the day is Matt. We'll bring you back in because I didn't explain
that was the rumor. I didn't cross a line. That's his rumor. He owned it.
I guess it was your own mom, so I guess I'll let you have that one.
Come on.
You didn't say anybody else's. All right, but nobody answered my question. Is it Rodgers, Love, and then nothing on the 50?
That's what I have.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's the depth chart right now for quarterback. It's Rodgers, Love, Blake Bortles, Etling.
Probably, yeah. Bortles just got really. I don't know if anybody saw that. Bortles is officially no longer a Lion, so now that's going to be the
Tim Boyle.
Yeah.
Well, the Lions had to try every single Packer that we've let go at least once.
Yeah.
So
some of these moves are also to get an insight to the offense and some of the cues and some of the schemes, right? Like it's no coincidence that our NFC North rivals are grabbing these second-tier guys to see what you remember of the playbook.
Yeah. All right, so this quarterback thing isn't super interesting. Let's get to something a little bit more interesting and talk about running back. Obviously, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are going to be on the 53. I did see a couple people saying no more running back was going to make it. Does anybody agree with that? Just those two?
No, we're carrying 3. I have 3.
I've got
3
3.
for sure.
Okay. That was a shock to me, too. I was going through today kind of finalizing, and I had like 15 different things up, and there were several people who had just 2. I think it's just because they wanted to cram like 9 wide receivers and 17 offensive linemen, so they had to shave somewhere. But I think the team has been pretty clear that we're going with 3. The question is who, though. So I don't know the best way to go about this, but it seems like it's going to be between Goodson and Taylor. Goodson is the odds-on favorite. So how many people have Goodson as their third running back?
Me.
Yeah, I've got Goodson.
I think it's Taylor.
Bruce, what do you got?
I've got Goodson, and I hate it because from a special team standpoint, my concern is that he really didn't get a lot of opportunities, but I went into the special teams grades at least, and he was at 54.8, so he was in there. Obviously, Amari Rogers was the highest graded punt and kick returner. I'm not sure how much opportunity was there, but he graded higher than Patrick Taylor from a special team standpoint. And the fact that, I think ultimately my decision was which player has a chance to actually make it on another team's 53, because if you're going to take one of our players, they have to make your 53, and that's why I ultimately stuck with Goodson.
And JJ, I missed what yours was. You also Goodson?
I didn't say I'm keeping
okay.
I'm keeping Patrick Taylor. I just think
Okay.
special teams blocking. I just think he's going to win the job.
Yeah, and I also have Taylor, but I know Goodson is the odds-on favorite. I think most people, it's because he's just a better running back, which I don't think anyone really would doubt he's having a better everything as a running back. But when Matt LaFleur said that the third spot goes to special teams, and I know, Bruce, you said that you think he's got a better shot on special teams anyways, but that's kind of what did it for me. I think they trust him more as a special teamer, and he's done more, and that's just kind of his jam. If Goodson had a shot as a returner, which I don't think he does, just because Amari's got that locked up, then I would say so, but I don't really see that necessarily. So we'll see how it goes, but it looks like we got 3 Goodsons and 2 Taylors. All right. Let's do, I guess tight end is probably not that exciting either, so let's do that one next.
Do we
Tunyon, Tunyon, Lewis, DeGuara, and does anybody just have 3 before we move on? Should be pretty unanimous.
4.
I'm just curious.
I've got 4.
Larson, don't you have a comment on that?
Last time I commented on something, I was kicked out, so I'm going to sit here patiently waiting.
Don't you have a comment on the tight ends, though?
I really like Mac. I know that Davis hasn't been looking well. I think we're going to take 4. It's anybody's guess at tight end. I like Mac. Who's the other guy? Sam Manila? He looks pretty good.
Sam Manila.
All right, so Tunyon, Lewis, DeGuara, and Davis seems to be the kind of the consensus. Is that pretty much what everybody's got?
Yes, and it pains me.
Sort of, yeah.
I've got Mac.
Do you have Mac? Okay.
Yep. I got Mac.
See, I like Mac too, but there was so many missed assignments. There was so much, I don't know.
Is it and what Clayton, is that a special teams thing for Mac, or do you just think he's a better tight end, or what?
Well, when I last checked PFF and I was looking at this, I had Davis, Tyler Davis's PFF is in the freaking basement. 30.1 is what I had, the latest I seen. Special teams grade was only a 51.9, so it's not like he's ripping it out of the frame on special teams too. And then when you go to Mac, it's a 51, overall offensive tight end grade, and his special teams is a 44.7. So I just feel like I've seen enough. I mean, you're talking about playing offense at the tight end position, you're grading out as a 30. I'd much rather have the 51 and sacrifice just a touch on special teams because, you're talking about a 6-point difference there. So, yeah, I'm definitely going Mac. I just think he's a well-rounded tight end, if you will. Now, that does play a role as far as, you need a tight end that can kind of do what Tunyon does. I understand that. But at the same time, I think I've seen enough of DeGuara. I think they're going to lean on him to kind of play that aspect of the backup to Tunyon. So,
yeah, I think for me, Davis comes down to it's not about what I would do; it's about what the team would do, and they have made it abundantly clear they are massive fans of Davis. They really like the guy. They like everything he does. They think he's a great special teamer. They love his potential and upside on offense. So I that's about as locked in and in pen for me as I could possibly make it, especially since he was actually competent in that last game. That was like, all right, there was maybe a shot if he was horrible for the third week in a row, but he wasn't. So I guess we just got to live with it.
If the name of the game is guessing what they're going to do,
yeah,
you're probably Davis. You know?
And here's a question for you, because as I went through the rest of this 53, but specifically with tight end, I was really hoping that this year they started really looking at upside as opposed to we've seen the ceiling of this player and this known commodity. Are you willing to take a chance on these guys that have a higher ceiling as opposed to just with Tyler Davis, right? This guy that they know what they have, they already know what to expect. He's the fourth tight end, so they're not expecting too much. But it's almost like with the fantasy draft, towards the end of the draft, toward the end of this roster, you would hope that they would try to take some home run balls with these guys. And if they hit, fantastic. If not, you really don't lose anything.
Yeah. I think they think that's Davis, though. I think in their mind, Davis is the high upside guy that they're taking a swing on. I mean, he's the receiving guy. He's more in line, but he's 50% of the time he's out there receiving. I know we don't see it, but I think that's how they see it. I think they see him as a very high upside player that down the line he could be that. And I think that's what, I mean, obviously he's played terribly, at least in 2 of the preseason games, and it didn't phase them because they do see this as a guy that's switching position. And yeah, you don't see that, JJ, but
no, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. They see it as kind of a long-term thing, but sometime this year it'll click, and when it does, he's going to be a Tunyon level guy. I think that's what they think. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm saying that's what I think they think. All right, so we got 2 Macs. Otherwise, it's Tunyon, Lewis, Deguara, and Davis. I'm trying
to keep Mac. I'll do backflips, but I think Davis is going to be the guy.
I'll give you $100 if you could do a backflip.
On the trampoline, does that count?
No. No. All right, if you land it, you know what? I'll tell you what, JJ. I'll tell you what. If you landed on the trampoline, I'll donate $50 to a no-kill shelter in your name.
No, here's the thing, man. $100 is not gonna cover the medical bills.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. That's you're gonna pull a butt cheek trying that. I guarantee it.
Jacob,
butt cheek, Ryan. He said butt cheek. Bye, Clayton.
Sorry, no B words on the stream there, Clayton. Sorry.
What the heck?
Looking for my leather helmet. I think my wife hid it from me. She heard on the live stream that somebody said I look like Cousin Eddie. She hid the damn thing. I guess it's gone. I don't know.
Hey, we've actually got a YouTube listener that volunteers at a no-kill shelter, JJ. So you've got some support there, buddy.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, come on, man. I'm not the one making mean-spirited jokes over here. Never.
You're not at 40. You haven't hit 40 yet. You could land that sucker.
Dude, I'm coming back from a torn MCL and meniscus right now. I'm taking it easy.
Oh no, don't do that.
I know Bruce could do it. I know Bruce could do it without a doubt. I know Bruce could do it. I know.
While chugging a beer.
Bet Bruce.
Bruce's blood alcohol level is always high enough for him to do it.
Yeah. He does them. He does them without knowing.
All right, let's talk about. Hey, how you doing, man? I tried to say hi, Jacob, but I couldn't get a word in. How you doing, Jacob? So we covered, just so you know, quarterback, running back, tight end, and been pretty close to unanimous, at least. It's nothing super crazy. But I do want to move
Davis
on.
on the team?
No.
He is, yeah, unfortunately. For first, not everybody. There's a couple nays.
I'm
Matt
holding
tried
out
to cut
some
Deguara.
hope. I'm holding out some hope.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Deguara got cut, though. Let's do wide receiver, because I think that one could potentially be a little bit fun. It's at least very controversial. Lazard, Watkins, Cobb, Dobbs, Watson, and Amari Rodgers. Does anybody not have those guys on our 53?
I've actually got them
fast, but I think that's it.
It's the normal 6, the starting 3, and then the 2 rookies and Amari.
That's
I
it.
think it might be 7.
Yeah, I've got them carrying 7.
At least those, though. No, there's nothing crazy.
Yeah,
we can all agree
those
that
6
those
for
guys,
sure.
Yep.
And then add Torrey.
Yep, same here.
I only have 6 on mine.
Okay.
6 for me.
So JJ and Bruce have just the 6. Clayton and Matt have Toure.
Yeah.
All right. Jacob,
you
did
got?
you have any thoughts?
I would have went
wonder-
7 with Winfrey, but
Yeah,
you know
all
how
right,
I
good. I'm
feel
not
about
alone.
that.
So we got 2, 2, and 2. I got Winfrey on there too. And that was a brand new addition for me. I didn't really plan on putting Winfrey on there, but when I was looking at it and I thought, if you're first of all, we don't need 7. We don't need it. It's not a thing that you need. But if you're going to do it, what I want is somebody that has experience, because that's the one thing we're lacking. I mean, we got Lazard and we got Cobb and we got nothing else as far as experience is concerned. And Watkins is probably going to get hurt. Dobbs doesn't know what he's doing. Watson hasn't taken a single snap, and Amari's basically a running back at this point. So if we're going to add another guy, I want a guy that actually has some experience being a Packers wide receiver. So for me, Winfrey made the most sense if we're going to carry another guy.
But this goes back to Bruce's point, though, right? We've seen Winfrey's ceiling, and it's not getting any higher, right? Torre's ceiling is a lot higher. And granted, he's not there yet. I think Toure coming in at the 7th position and getting some of those reps, maybe in the garbage time, or maybe, somebody goes down and he gets in for a quarter or two or something like that. I think that's going to bring him to the next. I know some people are chanting already, Winfrey for sure. I think Winfrey's ceiling, we've seen it. And for that reason, they go with Toure.
Yeah, for me too. I don't know if the numbers have been updated today or not, but the last I checked through the preseason, Winfrey PFF was 60.0, special teams 51 flat, and then Samori Toure was a 65.4 offensive grade with a 52.4 special teams. So he graded better than him across the board. You've got the 4-year rookie contract. That's basically a minimum contract. You don't have to fill that roster spot next year. If you decide to carry 6 next year, you're going to really save a chunk of change there. But
If they keep a 7th, I think it's Toure. I don't think it's Winfrey.
I just think if there's no reason to bring Samori Toure on to just sit on the bench, which is what he's going to do. He's not going to play.
He's a first-year guy. He's a first-year guy. You wouldn't bring on Winfrey and have him sit on the bench.
Well, I don't think he's ahead of Watson. He's going to be ahead of Watson. He might be ahead of Dobbs in terms of his understanding and ability. He's not a bad. Listen, you guys are talking about.
Okay, now you got to kick yourself off because of that foul language, sir.
You're talking about better football player. I'm talking about ready to play week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings. Romeo Dobbs.
You don't think Dobbs?
I don't think he has anywhere.
Winfrey.
He doesn't have anywhere near the level of trust that in Rodgers as Winfrey does.
That's 100% right. You throw the ball to Winfrey, it's going in Winfrey's hands. Throw the ball to Dobbs, it's a 50-50.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think Winfrey has a real shot of playing. And if there's any issues, Winfrey makes sense. If Watson's not ready, if Dobbs not ready, Amari's already not really going to contribute all that much, and he's just a backup slot guy. If Watkins gets hurt,
Amari isn't going to contribute that much.
Amari Rodgers? No.
Yeah, he's not going to contribute that much.
No. You think he is?
Does somebody record these things?
Did he contribute last year?
Is somebody recording these things? We were talking about pulling up receipts. I just want to make sure that you and I remember these Dobbs and Amari Rodgers conversation as we get into the Devontae Adams list offense of LaFleur.
I'm confused. Okay. So his 2 receptions got you that jacked up about it, or what?
So
Matt, may I remind you, Matt, that last year you lost a bet because you said that Eric Stokes was going to start week 1 over Kevin King. I just want you to remember who started week 1 and how
he did start week 1, and then he went into the number 1 position. So yeah, I wasn't right on the first game, but a couple games later he completely dominated.
Yeah, but this is literally what you're arguing about right now is week 1.
All I want to make sure, he said Amari's not going to contribute that much. And
he will on special teams.
Okay, well, last year on our roundtable, Matt,
and Stokes
you asked if we should cut Amari because he wasn't doing much as
and JJ sounds like my wife in an argument. You're going all the way back to last
year. Holy crap! Who hurt you? Who hurt you, JJ?
So you're
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Remember when you with a guy with a memory?
Remember?
Right.
There was. So, Matt does have, he called just out of each draft class, he kind of has his man crush with each of them. And I think that last year it was Stokes. And obviously as a rookie, we don't expect them to contribute as much. But they're holding Dobbs to a higher standard. Now, I do believe in Dobbs. I do think it's going to take him a little time to get going, just like it did with Stokes. And if we're talking week one, and this is part of the reason where I've just got this inkling with Christian or with Watkins, Sammy, that even though we haven't seen him very much in the preseason, I think he's going to pop first. But Dobbs he's just such a dynamic player, and we all have to remember that Devontae Adams had a lot of drops. But basically, Matt is a Dobbs truther, but I'm kind of on both sides because I don't think week one he's going to come out and set
First
the world
off,
on fire.
Christian Watson's not even going to play week one. And if he does, it's going to be extremely limited. So that just moves Dobbs up into another level right then and there.
And Winfrey.
Right? We're not going to see Amari Rodgers playing wide receiver. We're going to be seeing him playing that scat back in the back, kind of those toss plays, the running backs, that sort of thing, and returning punts. So that moves Dobbs already into the number 4 spot, right? Like,
did you say Amari's not going to contribute all that much? Is that what you said?
well, what I'm saying at wide receiver, but you had said he's not going to contribute that much as an overall sense of this. It's like, well, wait a second. I see him as a running back. I see him as that kind of Debo kind of character. He's still got to learn to run his routes a little bit better, but they're going to use him like that sort of, that multi-tooled weapon in the background. Sort of like Cobb when we first got Cobb, right? You'd see Cobb in the backfield, at the slot, the outside. He was all over the place.
Yeah, that's a new one. I don't know. I didn't know there was a huge Amari hype train, so I guess that just kind of threw me off.
Well, I don't think it's a huge hype train. I just think that he looks a lot slimmer. He looks a lot more confident, and I think that we're going to see a little bit more out of him this year.
Here's the Amari thing that's interesting to me to talk about is a lot of folks are wondering if Amari could be our RB3, and I just want to point out he took 0 pass blocking reps in the preseason. So
yeah, that's a big thing for LaFleur.
No.
But we will see him in the backfield. We've seen that play 100 times, right? So
we'll
see
him. RB3 is,
but
RB3
no, not RB3. So he'll be wide
have
receiver,
somebody
right?
who can pick up blitzes when Jones and Dillon can't be on the field.
I also think it'll be significantly less. Like it'll be a fun gadgety thing, but now you're talking about removing Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon to put him in the backfield. It's going to be a fun gadget thing, but more of a fun preseason thing to see if he can do it. Then, I mean, I don't want to see our top 2 running backs sitting on the bench for Amari to take snaps. That doesn't sound super intriguing to me. So I don't think they're going to be doing it a ton.
Who's a better wide receiver, Jones or Amari Rodgers?
Jones.
Jones, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't put Amari Rodgers and Jones back there and then run Jones to the outside?
Well, I put AJ Dillon back there.
Oh,
Personally.
Matt, did you forget AJ Dillon exists?
No, I didn't forget AJ Dillon exists. I just remember how the offense looked last year. And as much as they said they were going to use the 2-back system with Aaron Jones and Dillon, it was a lot of Dillon without any fullbacks taking hits in the backfield and still falling forward for 3 and 4 yards, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun, and I'm excited to see what he can do in the backfield. I just don't think it'll be a lot. I think Cobb is going to be the primary slot guy, and I think very sparingly you'll see him doing some fun stuff in the backfield. But I don't see a major role for him.
Yeah,
I
think with Amari, the majority of that's going to come out of Z motion. I think there will be a significant amount of touches, but it's going to be out of Z motion and not necessarily out of the backfield. But I mean, looking at his PFF too, when we talk about him, playing a role through the preseason, which we've seen, he got quite a few snaps, right? Overall grade 58.0. Now his rushing grade was 67.5, but receiving grade only a 56.4. That's if you put any stock in PFF. Just worth noting.
All right. Well, that took a turn I didn't expect. So wide receiver, we got 2 guys with 6, 2 guys with Samore, and 2 guys with Winfrey. Last on the offense, we got offensive line, and I'm going to try to do the same thing again. We got our core guys that I'm assuming everybody kind of agrees on, but we'll see. So we got Bakhtiari, John Runyon, Myers, Royce, and Jenkins. And I'm not trying to argue about where or who starts, but so those guys are all locked in. And then Tom, Hansen, Ryan, and Nyman. In addition to that, I would assume everybody has those 9 guys.
I just put Hansen on at the very last second.
Okay.
Coward.
I was really
I had you there, buddy. I had you there.
I had Rasheed Walker on there for forever, and I finally I had Ryan's stupid voice going through my head. He's the new Lucas Patrick. He's the new Lucas Patrick. And finally, I was like, I got to put him on here because I know they're going to keep him, but I don't feel good about it.
You're gonna hate me forever when they don't keep him. Don't do it because of me, because then you're just gonna hold a grudge.
Yeah, I probably will. I man, deep down, I believe it's Rasheed Walker.
Do it.
I don't know.
Do it right. Do it live. Do it for the fans. They want to see it.
Should I switch it?
Just do it live right now.
Problem is, I already sent it over to Matt Pickett. I sent
It's
it to
okay.
Matt Pickett already.
You can switch stuff.
This is the official one. Matt doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not moving anything. Here's
Rasheed Walker.
Yeah.
The reason I chose Hansen over Walker was because you have a guy in Hansen who can play center and can play guard, and that little bit of I guess we can call it swing tackly kind of component where he can play two positions and he has a little bit of freedom on the line and offers that type of freedom to Stenovich is why I had him over Rasheed Walker. I think it's just his versatility is the word that I was looking for while I talk like a moron for like 30 seconds.
I think he's very versatile, and I think that he also sucks just about everywhere you put him.
All right, Clayton,
let's
try to put this in some kind of an order here. So of those 9, do you have those 9 at least? Or
the 9 I have, obviously you mentioned Bakhtiari, Runyon, Myers, Jenkins, and Newman.
Yep.
What I've got outside of that for the other 4, I've got Hansen, Nyman, Tom, and Caleb Jones.
Okay, so no Sean Ryan, but Caleb Jones instead.
No Sean Ryan, yeah.
Okay. All right.
That would be amazing. Caleb Jones would be amazing on the 53. I really want that dude on there, but I think he can make it onto the practice squad without a problem.
You're probably right, yeah.
All right, Bruce, you're up next because JJ kind of covered it. What do you got for yours outside of like the starting 5?
So it's Sean Ryan, Zach Tom, Jake Hansen, and Yash.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's what I've also got.
Yep.
Matt, what about you?
Same thing.
Same thing. Jacob, do you have a thought on offensive line?
Yeah, I'm tired. Sorry, guys. I'm so out of it. I just like listening to you talk smack to each other.
I didn't even know if you had a 53, so I didn't want to be like, what's yours? And you're like,
I do and I don't. You guys already covered
Okay.
a few of the stuff where I maybe would have, went back and forth. But Yash, Hansen, Tom, in my heart of hearts, I want Jones, but I think it'll be Walker. So I don't really care. Either or. I really like Jones, man. If we could just have like some mauler beast like that, just an ogre. Oh, I love it.
All right. Yeah, no, those guys are really awesome. The only thing that I've been saying pretty consistently is we just have so many tackles on the team, and I don't see why we need to carry 2 more tackles just to kind of sit at the end. If we start having injury issues with like 3 or 4 tackles getting hurt, you can elevate them from the practice squad. But Bakhtiari and Royce and Jenkins and Tom and Nyman, they're all tackles. So
would Michael Manette be the most Packers pick ever to make the 53? Just
probably, yeah.
Don't even throw that into
nobody
the
talks
universe,
about him at all.
Exactly.
Don't throw that into the universe, please.
Just saying. Just seems like something they do.
Well, you got John saying Hansen's trade bait. So yeah, we'll dump Hansen. We'll trade him because we've been hyping him up just to trade him, and then Manette is our interior guy.
Hey, if we could turn him into another 6th round pick that we put into him, I'm okay with that. Especially considering we've cut him before and he's been out just floating in the universe.
All right, let's switch over to defense. I know JJ, you're getting a little short on time, so we'll try to pick up the pace. I'll try to not fight with Matt as much. So we've got the 5. I'm assuming everyone's locked in: Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, Jaron Reed, TJ Slaton, and then Wyatt. I did see some people only have 5. Does anybody just have 5? Nope. All right. Nope. The 6th, then I've got Heflin. What do you got, Clayton?
Heflin.
JJ?
Heflin.
Everybody Heflin?
Heflin.
Trash can full of dirt.
Right.
Nobody has John Ford because I was prepared to laugh at somebody really loud.
No.
If he had a little bit more skill, he'd be a guy that we'd want to keep. He's a monster.
Yeah.
If John Ford had a little bit more athleticism or
Yeah.
a little more skill, then he could be a football player. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to actually skip to linebacker because I think the other ones are a little bit more interesting. This one's probably not as much, but I've got Quay, Campbell, Barnes, and McDuffie. Does anyone disagree with that?
Nope.
Nope.
Rest in peace, Ty Summers.
Yeah, right. Okay, perfect. That was as interesting as I thought it would be. Let's double back to edge now because I kind of hemmed and hawed, and this is
the
another
worst.
area that
This is the worst on the roster.
I struggled with. I
try
mean,
and figure out.
safety was probably my hardest, but this one was not fun. So Rashawn, Preston,
Wait, you got
Kings-
Rashawn on yours? I don't know about
He's not even
Kingsley.
a top 100 player.
that. Yeah.
I think just based on what I've seen, Rashawn, Preston, and Kingsley are the only ones that everybody kind of had. I'm assuming everyone agrees with that so far.
Yeah.
Correct.
Does anybody not have Garvin on their 53?
Wish I didn't have Garvin on my 53.
We all got Garvin?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. After that, I put Hamilton on my 53, and that's it. Does anybody else? What do you guys got?
I'll tell you, it's tough, man. I can see why you would take Hamilton, but at the same time, if I'm only carrying 5, it was tough. It came down to Enigbar and Hamilton, dude. Enigbar was horrible in preseason, according to PFF. Did you guys see that too? Like,
Yeah.
ugly. 49.4, and then special teams was a 39.7. At some point, we don't have the right to complain anymore about special teams if we all keep saying, take this player, flush his special teams grade. So that was a tough one for me. I could see Hamilton over Enigbar. And I know we're talking about I'm already cutting 2 draft picks, but again, are we going to fix special teams or not? If I had to choose, I'd probably say Enigbar if this is a guessing game on what the team's going to do, though.
So, Clayton, who are your 5 then? You said you have 5 or do you have 4?
I've got 5.
All right, who are your 5?
It came down to Smith, Gary, Garvin, Tipa, and then it's between Enigbar and Hamilton. And I really struggled with that. I think, like I said, if we're guessing what the team's going to do, Enigbar. If it was me, I would go Hamilton. Hamilton's PFF grades 66.4 on defense, and special teams grade was a 66. I think he was in the top 10, wasn't he, on special teams?
Yeah, he was one of the better ones for that. Not great, but compared to everyone else on our special teams, that sucks. He was up there. All right, so JJ, what did you have for yours?
So I went ahead and kept Tipa. He's one of the best run defenders on the entire defense. And I think if you got Kingsley, who is kind of just purely only a pass rusher and a total liability in run defense, I think Tipa's going to make it because of his run defense. To me, I actually thought, this is going to sound stupid, but I kind of felt like Kobe Jones was a little bit harder of a cut for me than Ladarius was.
He was a popular pick too.
I think both of them are going to end up on our practice squad for sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
So summarize for me your picks.
It's Garvin and Agbar and Tipa.
Okay. And then Bruce, what do you got?
I was struggling with that too between Kobe Jones and Tipa, and I kept Tipa exactly for that reason. When you end with a 33 rushing defense grade in the preseason, you're going to kind of focus on those back end rotational players if anything happens on the run stopping ability, and that's why I went with Tipa.
We just need help with run defense just so badly, just in terms of we have to be able to take Rashawn and Preston off the field occasionally and not just get murdered in the run game. So for me, it's kind of a no-brainer to put Tipa on there.
Matt?
Yeah, same thing.
Jacob, what do you think? Edge.
Smith, Gary, Garvin, Enigbar, Hamilton.
All right. So
For the record, Jacob, I like every pronunciation of his name. None of them bother me.
Except Clayton's.
They all bother me. Yeah, Clayton's bothers me the most.
Wait, Clayton, how do you say it?
Enigbar.
My goal is every podcast I do to pronounce it different.
There you go.
Every single time.
All right.
At some point,
Have you been saying it Enigbar? Have you been saying it Enigbar, Clayton?
Please, he
Enigbar.
emphasized bar this time.
A nag bar.
Yeah, that was different.
Well, Enigbar is how I think he says it, but when you say Enigbar, I think that's the only one that I actually do disagree with.
When you say Enigbar, sweet chin stuff. Nag bar. Who are you taking to a bar for?
It's a
Enigbar
hard R.
or a
I'm
nag?
quoting you. I'm not. Why are you criticizing your own pronunciation?
Because I'm a loser, JJ.
Please, Clayton. Here, try it in Spanish. All right? Enigbar.
Enigbar.
There it is.
That's pretty
Get
good.
that way.
You
That's
know
the best
that
way
are?
to get it.
Hey, I know how to roll the R. Don't you test me?
I've just been calling him Steve.
So, Jacob,
Ryan, who'd you have?
I'll ask you just because I agreed with you on this one too. What is it that you put Hamilton on there for? What pushed you over the edge?
Just because I've never really been sold on Tipa, and I've always liked Garvin, but I don't know. I've seen Hamilton. Seems like he's scrappy, that he really wants it, that he's a guy that's, I don't know. He reminds me of Randy Ramsey Ramsey, when you'd see a lot of flashes from him, but then he never really could put it together, stay healthy, blah, blah, blah. I just want to give him a chance. He just looks like he's a hungry guy, and he seems like he has a little bit. He can run, rush the passer. He looks like he could play the run if maybe he was, disciplined a little bit. And I don't know. I'm kind of sick of seeing the old guard. I want to get some new guys in there, to be honest. And I want to see if he's worth his weight in special teams.
If it was up to me, I'd keep Ladarius instead of Garvin.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised they were so kind of similar to Barnes. They it's not even a question. They got that guy locked in ink, but Hamilton, and I talked about it tomorrow with my explanation, but I couldn't get over the fact that he was the number 1 graded edge rusher and the highest graded special teamer.
Yeah.
And his snap counts were just about higher than everybody else's. And I was like, well, how do I not put him on there? And I was like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go watch the last game and see who started first. Tipa had the first snap, and I'm like, well, I guess that's the guy. Second snap, he's gone, and it's Hamilton the whole rest of the time. It's Hamilton. He was out there to start the whole time. Tipa didn't come back until like the third thing. So I'm looking at it, and even when he did come back, Hamilton stayed out there. So it was weird that Tipa had the first snap, but in my mind, Hamilton was the starting edge rusher above Tipa and some of these other guys. So I was like, all right, that's it. I'm putting him in. It was hard to do it because I know they've been talking about Tipa like back in training camp. He's the number 1 guy, but between that and the injuries and Hamilton starting and him being graded higher on every which way and having more snap counts, it's like I'm just going to put him in, even though nobody's doing it right now.
Ryan, the one thing I've been hearing you talk all week about that kind of thing where you're looking at who's getting the most snaps on something, and in the preseason, I can't let go of this thought that they're putting out there the guys that they feel the most indecisive about. That they're like, I need to see more of what you can do so I can make my decision about you. And you look at like Ty Summers had the most snaps of anybody on special teams, and he's gone.
Yeah, but who's starting though? What I'm saying is Hamilton's starting. He's the number 1 guy right now.
Yeah, but it's a preseason game. Is my point. Is that they're trying to give him as many looks as possible.
It's the same thing that I did with corner too. When I want to see when the corners are out there, who are the first 2 corners? Those are number 1 and 2. They're not putting the number 4 guy out there just to kind of screw with it. So that was an additional thing in terms of making a decision: is who are they starting first and pulling first? And in this case, it was Hamilton before Tipa. So on top of him being a better player on defense and a better player on special teams, he's starting before Tipa. I didn't really know what else to do other than to say he seems to be the guy. But again, everybody else is saying Tipa, so I feel like I'm going to be wrong, but I couldn't not do what seemed to be right in front of my face.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. All right, let's do these. These were really hard. I think corner not as much as safety for me, but corner still very hard. What is Jacob doing over there? Mixing a drink. All right, so yeah,
just having them ready right next to him, like me, like a pro.
Right.
Oh, there he is.
So we got at corner Jair, Stokes, Douglas. Everybody has that, I'm assuming. Shamar. Everybody have Shamar?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. I guess we'll just stop there. Who else does everybody else have? Clayton, who else do you have at corner?
Yeah, I'm carrying 6, and I've got Keandre Thomas and Kabian Ento. And the reason being, those 2 guys really stood out in the preseason. Keandre Thomas, 68.7 defensive grade, 67.1 special teams. Kabian Ento, 64.5 defensive grade, 68.8 special teams. 2 of the better special teams players on the roster. So I'm going with those 2.
JJ?
This is a tough one for me. I kept Keyshawn Nixon and Keandre Thomas as my final 2, and I don't feel good about it. I think it was so hard for me to cut Kabian Ento. Safety, cornerback, and edge rusher. Man, I went back on those 3 so many times.
So let me interject. First of all, Thomas, thank you very much for the $4.99. JJ, I'm in the exact same boat. I had Ento, and I just booted him off, and I have Nixon and Keandre Thomas as my next two guys. And it was the same thing as I did with Hamilton. So Nixon was always my guy because he was the backup slot guy, and that seems to be his role.
Yeah.
But Keandre was the same thing where it's like he graded out real well, but nobody really cares. It's not a big deal. And then I looked at special teams, and he was doing a pretty good job. And then I said, all right, well, why don't I just go look and see who started? He was starting. He was the number one corner out there with Shamar Jean-Charles. So I was like, well, what am I supposed to do, you know? So that's what I ended up doing. I got Keandre Thomas and Nixon. Bruce, what do you got at corner?
Man, JJ, I'm telling you, man, like I thought we were going to have a little bit of a difference here, but I have the same thing. I've got Shamar Jean-Charles, I've got Keandre Thomas and Keyshawn Nixon as well. Ento, I think it was also kind of that last cut, but based on the special teams play, I just kind of stuck with Keandre Thomas there, and it's terrible. Like we're literally like pretty much, other than so far, it's only two players that were.
That's what we did last year too,
no,
man.
Terrible.
I think Jack Heflin is who won it for me because we had like just two guys that we were disagreeing about.
So we're the same.
Matt?
I've got the same as Bruce.
And me and JJ. Cool. Jacob, what do you think at corner?
Yeah. Sorry, no good content. Same. Nixon, Thomas. You know what? Never mind. I'll lie. Rico Gafford's my man. He's the best in town. I tell you. Gafford's the man. Buy all the papers. Gafford, you see.
Scoops Callahan here. What's the news?
That's right. Button man.
I'm actually kind of surprised that we all kind of agreed on that, aside from Clayton's one difference.
I'm surprised too, because this one felt so up in the air for me.
I know, yeah, same thing.
Thomas just looks like he likes to hit people, man. It's fun to watch him play. He looks aggressive.
We've also spent an entire offseason talking about this stuff, and
I like too how Ryan here put in a fake super chat to kick Clayton off the stream. He didn't actually donate anything. He just put a hyphen $4.99 USD.
Yeah, you got to boot me for the creativity there, man. That's legit.
That's not bad. We'll bring you back in when it's your turn. Let's talk about safety. No, I'm just kidding. For a fake super chat, you get about a half a second. So this is the one I hated the absolute most, and I still hate it looking at it. I don't like it at all. Obviously, Amos and Savage, which I guess I shouldn't say obviously. Maybe somebody put Savage on pup or something. I don't know what you guys are doing, but Amos and Savage. And then I'll just say I put Davis and Levitt as my two safeties, and I don't feel good about that at all. But Clayton, what do you got?
I went with Abernathy and Carpenter.
I like Abernathy a lot.
Abernathy, let's see here. I've got it here somewhere, I think. Yeah, 79.1 preseason PFF grade. Special teams is down a little bit at 53.5, but the other guy I've got, like I said, Abernathy and Carpenter. Carpenter, I didn't realize he played that well, man. 70.1.
You guys have been so, warming here. It's been awesome.
What is
You're the new JJ.
Is there like 9 people watching right now? A whole 9?
There's 14, Matt. Shut up.
Oh, 14. Okay. Just so I'm not wasting my time.
It's a fake $4.99. I won't boot you. Sorry, Clayton. What did you got? You were saying
Abernathy and Carpenter. I was just saying I was really surprised that Carpenter's special teams grade was 70.1. I didn't feel like I seen that this preseason, but graded pretty high.
JJ?
I've had Tariq Carpenter etched in granite from the very beginning. I wrote it from the beginning. And then I have Dallin Levitt on there and Sean Davis. I actually have 5 safeties. Dallin Levitt, to me, that's a Bisaccia thing. I think there's a small chance that they keep him on the 53 and then stash him on IR and bring back Abernathy. I really, really like Abernathy, but I don't see him beating out Davis. Tariq Carpenter, that's just a Goody decision. I don't think anybody else is going to have any say in that. I think Goody's keeping Tariq, and then I think Bisaccia is keeping Dallin Levitt. So to me, I go Sean Davis, give it to Jerry Gray / Joe Barry because to me, Sean Davis has been safety 3 for forever. I never understood Vernon Scott thing. I never thought he was safety 3.
Bruce.
All right. Well, Sean Davis, number 3. I do have Abernathy as my 4 making it. And my 5th, the whole Levitt thing is kind of throwing me off a little bit because they're bringing him back on. And are they going to bring him back on to immediately put him on IR to let him break and then bring somebody back or not? But at this point, I'm assuming that's not happening. And as much as I dislike him, and it's terrible, and literally on my notes I put terrible, but I put Ennis Gaines in there as my 50.
Woof.
And somebody wanted to boot me out.
He's still mad about that.
I really do like Carpenter because he does kind of play that safety that safety linebacker hybrid. Like he's kind of in that tweener with that position. So I was really thinking about Carpenter, but there's this inkling where they always do something that we hate, and I think the hate is going to be Ennis Gaines that the team does.
Abernathy and Carpenter is who I have. Abernathy and Carpenter.
It's my guy right there.
Jacob?
Sean Davis, Tariq Carpenter, and then I think they keep Abernathy, maybe even Devontae Cross on the practice squad. If they keep 5, I got them going Davis, Carpenter, Abernathy with Devontae Cross on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that Carpenter finished the preseason as the 4th ranked tackler in PFF grade overall. That's pretty balls. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, the hard part about safety is I kind of dislike all of them, and they're all kind of on the same tier.
I think you all the same.
Yeah.
Except Abernathy. We all like Abernathy.
Yeah, I do like Abernathy. It's weird, but I like him. But Davis, I don't think has ever done anything special. But like you said, JJ, he's been locked into that spot since day one.
Healthy.
So I can't touch him. So, I mean, he's 100% locked into that. And I 100% did not want Dallin Levitt on that spot. I don't think he's good at anything. He's never been good on special teams, ever. But that's like his whole thing is, he's great on special teams. He's never been good on special teams. But he's the whole special teams guy. And then I went back and looked at it week 1, and he was locked into that spot. And I don't know if he's going to lose his job because he's been injured the last 2 weeks. I mean, they love the guy. They want him on special teams. So I really didn't want to put him in that spot. But you do have that out of maybe they're going to put him on PUP or IR or something. But even then, I didn't know what to do. Is it Carpenter because he's a better special teams guy, or is it Abernathy because he's a better safety? So
with Davis, man, I mean, last I seen his special teams grade was a 33.8. Like, was he running down the field backwards or something? How do you get
it's bad. I don't know. I don't get it, but it's not even really debatable.
It's like he's the golden boy.
Russ, by the way, Russ B, I agree that Gaines sucks. And it's literally like it. Let me just show you, buddy, so you can see exactly what I put in here in the chat, or in literally says.
That's terrible.
Terrible.
It's terrible.
Terrible.
I kind of want to drag this out for another 3 minutes to see if we can have a fake super chat to boot the rest of the crew here, because Bruce has now got a fake super chat. That's half the group.
That's fantastic.
All right. Well, I guess we'll do special teams real quick. Anything other than Crosby, O'Donnell, or Coco?
All right. Will Crosby be ready for week 1?
Right. That's the question.
I think he'll be on the 53, and I think there's a non-zero chance he gets moved to IR and they bring back Ramiz.
So he sits on IR for the first 4 weeks?
Leading into week 1.
What?
So will they carry? So they'll have Crosby on the 53, and if he's not ready, they're not going to move him to IR or PUP. So they'll carry 2 kickers. So they'll have Ramiz in there as well. And then, or what would they do in that?
They're going to cut Ahmed, because I don't know if Ramiz is even the right pronunciation. I feel better saying Ahmed. They're going to cut Ahmed. They're going to carry Mason on the roster. They're going to put Mason on IR, and then they're going to bring back Ahmed. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, Thomas Austin has contributed, so I'm very sorry to have to do this, JJ, but that's a real super chat. So we're down to Jacob and I are the only ones left on here. So, it's not even that really interesting, because I think we all kind of know that Crosby's the guy if he's healthy. It's just a matter of if he is, and I don't think anybody actually knows if he is. But I guess it's still part of the prediction, so we'll see. I just put Crosby because it sounds like they're saying he's going to be ready, but I don't
What's
know.
his injury? Is it just that he's like 46? Or is
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just old is the injury designation.
Didn't he have a cleanup procedure on his knee in the offseason? From what I read?
Yeah, and he said it. He's basically said it's just due to old age. It's like old age cleanup.
There you go. All right, I guess we're done. So that was about the end of that. So no, but I am curious. So Bruce and JJ, where did you guys differ? Because that's kind of the biggest thing. Do you guys remember it all?
Well,
what are some
I
of the
didn't
differences
have
you had?
Danny Etling as my QB too.
Right, that's the big one.
Are you serious?
No, he's just
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Right.
no.
Ray Mysterio. What did you have? That was. Do you remember?
Es el Blue Panther.
Oh,
Aquí,
sorry.
Listo para.
Things are
He's got
getting
the
weird now.
mouth matching ball gag too.
And so JJ, Patrick Taylor, I've got Goodson.
Okay.
You've got Walker, I've got Hanson. You've got Carpenter and Levitt.
No. I have Hanson.
Oh, you coward! All
You
right.
didn't do it.
I had already tweeted it before I hopped on here and said I was
All right.
torn.
Done.
So,
It's all
sticking with
fair.
what I tweeted.
We don't keep. So it's really only down to Goodson and Taylor and Carpenter, Levitt, or Gaines and Abernathy. And I know Gaines is going to screw me over, but
Bruce, can I hear you say something real quick? Leave that mask on. I just need you to say my stretchy
Oh,
pants.
God.
My stretchy pants.
Itchy pants.
Yes. It's for fun.
Torn out of my face.
That's the best line in the whole movie.
Oh, man.
Oh, well, with that comment, we'll get out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll